What is going on, crew? What is going on? Welcome back to the Boardroom podcast, where we help you stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. There's a lot of things that we can dive into today, right? And one thing I kind of want to do is just kind of talk about general updates, what's going on with Charlie, and kind of what we're seeing in the AI landscape and where things are trending. There's some writing on the wall that I'm seeing. Right. And the writing on the wall is we're very close to not really ever needing SDRs. Like we're very, very close to that being a real possibility. And we're very close to not needing BDRs. All right. So future of sales teams is going to be, you have a savage closer, and they have a kick-ass AI assistant. Ideally, that AI assistant is Charlie, right? And Charlie will be their digital conversion assistant, helping them turn leads into qualified opportunities for a closer, right? And we're very, very close to being able to do that. So
right, and I think the reason why we are pretty close to that is because our background is in that sales process with that end in mind, right? The sales process, because everything we build in Charlie is that's in the background. We don't just build a feature just to build a feature, right? We build it. Does it actually make your sales process that much better? Because we've had clients come in here, big clients that have used other stuff, and they're like, "Oh wow, you guys really built this like a sales team almost." Like, yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like literally, that's the whole point. That's like where we came from, right? That's like kind of like the background on what did we want to build that can make our job easier, right?
yeah,
So
100%. And it's really like, how do we, because the vision for Charlie is really not to be bad, but I really want to make SDRs obsolete, right? Like, and you need SDRs right now, but I really think with where things are going, like you're not going to need SDRs for very long. And the reason why the role of an SDR is so challenging is because of how repetitive it is. And they're not doing enough to kind of drive a serious amount of revenue to where you can justify paying them like you would a closer. And the skill sets are different. Like they're introducing someone to the sales process and they're kind of qualifying a prospect. But with some of the updates that we're going to be rolling out with Charlie, especially with like Charlie X, where it can see it can do a soft pull, see if somebody's pre-qualified for financing, how much money they have available, cash on hand, and what the annual income is. Like it's just absolutely ridiculous what we'll be able to do on that side. And that's really the most important thing, right? Because Charlie now, it can call someone and talk to them and find out if they really have a need, right? But even SDRs have a hard time finding out how financially qualified someone is for an offer. And they have to ask questions in a very, skillful way to determine if somebody's financially qualified. Right. And if we can just have the system be able to do that, it's a wrap.
yeah, it's a wrap. And not only that, you're pre-qualifying them without them knowing that we're pre-qualifying them, right? The pre-qualifying would be like, can I get you from my intro message all the way down to my CTA? That would be like the pre-qualifying. But we're going to pre-qualify them financially so we don't waste our time. Now the fact that we have those two processes happening, probably voice can come in and on in the back end as well, but that just makes your booking process that much shorter. Meaning, maybe the two-step booking might not need to be a thing anymore. It could just literally go to a sales call. So that just means that I did all the work that an SDR would, like on a pre-call. Like on a triage or a discovery, whatever the heck you want to call it. I just eliminated that step. I just eliminated them going on another call, and then after that, and then getting on a sales call. Dude, I did all that for you already without them knowing that I did all that for you already, that the lead doesn't even know that.
The cool thing, the thing that the SDR does do a good job of is kind of building anticipation and right, building a little rapport. So if we can essentially set it up to where a lead comes in, we know if they're financially qualified, right? Charlie can just shoot them a text and just be like, "Hey, are you free to meet to just kind of go over what we do and how we go about doing it?" They meet, or Charlie's like, "Are you free to talk right now?" And then if they're like, "Yeah, I am," it calls them right then and there, qualifies them, does like a soft qualifying to just make sure that they're actually really interested in the offer and that they have a need for the solution. But we already know they're financially qualified, so we can just book them to speak with the closer. So you eliminate a lot of friction that most offers typically have with a process like that, right? So we eliminate the need for an application, we eliminate the need for a triage call, and we can essentially get any lead that's been kind of qualified in terms of like their interest and their need. They've been qualified via SMS or over the phone. We can just get those leads booked directly onto a closer's calendar. And then eventually all your entire nurturing and educating of those leads, right, are really tailored towards the qualified leads. Like all your most qualified leads can go into a separate pipeline where it triggers different nurturing events, workshops, live trainings, playbooks, emails. All these different things are like nurturing those lists, those leads. And instead of having them fill out an application, you can essentially take those leads at any point in that process. You can book them directly onto a closest calendar and eliminate a friction, or the lead can reply and say, "Yeah, I'd like to talk with someone." And then boom, Charlie calls them or texts them. Like, "Cool. What are you, I just saw that you are interested in getting on a call. When are you free to do that? What works for you? We're open on this day, this time, whatever it is."
Yep. And what's even better too, that now that we know that they're financially qualified, but let's say they have maybe let's just say they don't hit our credit that we want them to be, right? Let's say they're off by 5 or 10 points or something like that, right? Or maybe their total available credit is off just by a little bit. And the fact that they didn't meet that criteria to get, the auto booking and get them booked into the sales call, that's all right. Charlie will still have a conversation, but this time, instead of auto booking automatically, I'm going to do one more vet. Then at that point, hey, I could send an application. I need you to get through this one more friction point. Let's just say they do the application and they fill it out, it's qualified, then they can actually go to a sales call because I put in one more friction. But that doesn't mean like all your leads, like, oh man, half my leads are like, they're dead. No, we just qualify them a little bit harder. That's all we're doing. So we can have two different entry points. One, fully qualified from a financial standpoint, auto book them in, Charlie. You don't need to send an application. The other ones, maybe they didn't hit those criteria. I'm going to start sending you an application link because I need to vet you just a little bit more before I push you all the way through. So there's different ways on how we can run this. So that's technically two different Charlies going at the same time that are rocking and rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you just essentially, you're kind of like optimizing the sales process to where those who it makes sense to skip the line, you're allowing them to skip the line. And those who you're like, I need to fill you out a little bit more, you're filling them out a little bit more. But then being able to segment your audience into two categories where you know who's the most qualified and who's not super qualified. What you're able to do from a marketing and nurturing standpoint is you can create very low ticket products that allows those leads that may not be financially qualified to still get the help that they need without taking up any of your precious time, like availability in terms of the calendar, right? Maybe those leads, you put them into a low ticket, you sell them a low ticket product, you sell them a low ticket membership, you sell them something that they can buy to get help, right? Because you still want to be able to help people, but not at the expense of being able to profitably scale your advertising campaigns, right?
Exactly. And not only that, taking an hour spot that they know they shouldn't have been there. One, they take a really good real estate on the calendar. Two, it pisses off your salespeople. Once you have pissed off salespeople, you know how they are. I'm going to start looking for another job, like F this. Usually people that are not very good or financially at that point or whatever the case is, they start to no-show, they start to cancel. You just start getting very unhappy sales reps. And what happens when unhappy sales reps happen? hey, I'm out of here, dude. Like, this is not great. Another thing that you can do because of the segment is we can start feeding the good data that went to this good Charlie back to Facebook, right? Whereas this one, hey, I don't want you to fire none of my shit. Maybe you'll fire it when a book call happens, right? Because they went
Or
through a
not
couple
even that,
more.
maybe you fire
Yeah,
when that person
maybe.
signs up. Like when they
Oh, there you
actually
go. We can go down
they
further if we want.
yeah, they eventually
Yeah,
pay. Like the unqualified leads only trigger a conversion event when they actually put money in your bank account. Versus the qualified leads, like you want to trigger those conversion events as soon as possible because you want to train Facebook to find you more qualified leads, right? And those are like really the stuff that unless somebody comes from this frame in this world where like you care about conversion API events, you care about good pixel data, you care about good lead segmentations, right? A lot of these other tools out there they're not even aware that's a real thing, right? All of them are just like, oh, like when are you free to book a call?
uh,
It's like
yeah,
anyone and their mother can get on your calendar, even if they're not qualified, because the tools aren't designed to truly segment your list and give you the ability to control who's going further into your sales pipeline and how they're getting further into your sales pipeline. And I think that's one of the advantages that we have with Charlie is the ability to create those segmentations and be able to kind of like modularize your agents in a way where you can determine who gets triggered by what agent and where do they go and be able to see really good data on how those things are happening. All right.
exactly. And or any platform, Facebook wants you. I'm just picking Facebook specifically, but Facebook wants you to succeed because if you don't succeed with Facebook, they don't get paid, right?
And I know
But
that's probably controversial for people to hear. It's like Facebook actually wants you to make money.
they
Believe it or
do.
not. Like they really
Because
do.
if you don't make money, they don't make money. But it all determines on the data that you push back to Facebook. If you put shit data, they're gonna give you shit back because that's what you're feeding. So they think in their mind, oh, they want this person. This is the people they want. Sure, I'll load you up, right? That's what their AI is doing. That's what the whole algorithm is doing. Whatever. But if you start feeding the good data, they'll start feeding the good data back. So little
And it's
caveat there.
really Facebook is not biased. Like it's really not. It doesn't care who you are, your ethnicity, or anything like that. I used to feel like when I was first doing
I still remember that call for some weird reason in a mastermind we were in. I still remember that call
like
when
I
you're talking
feel like
about the fucking quality is terrible, dude. Why?
I, Facebook is like low key racist. Like he's sending me shit leads.
I still remember that coaching call.
Oh man. And I had to like build a very like sophisticated way of getting Facebook to stop sending me a particular demographic of people.
We
It
we used to
really
do some crazy stuff to eliminate people, even though in our head, bad, this is bad. But I'm like, fuck, but I gotta get money, bro. Like, I'm
yeah.
sorry, but I
And the
have
funny
to. And
thing
they,
is by doing that, it actually helped because we're starting to train the pixel and we're in doing that, we're inadvertently cleaning up our pixel data by getting a bunch of people who weren't going to be a good fit, getting them onto a pixel, and then telling Facebook, send us anyone for the love of God, except for these type of people.
man, the amount
And
of
it worked.
work the amount of work just to do that though back then compared to now it's like easy. But back then, like you had to create like dummy pages that we would send traffic. We would spend harder money to send traffic just to create a shitty data so I could push the shitty data so I could exclude it. I used to do it, excluding people that I would feel bad. I'm like, fuck it, dude. I gotta make some money, bro. Like, I'm sorry, but exclude you, exclude you, exclude you. Then we used to layer to try to get through. Like, there was a lot of stuff just to get the data to push back, which was like, just find me somebody decent for the love of God, dude.
It's
Stop
funny.
sending me this stuff, dude.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, what people complain about now. They're like, Facebook ads don't work, and I'm like, anyone who still believes that, like, I'm sorry, but you're a complete idiot. Like, it
Mm.
works. You just haven't figured out how to make it work for you,
And
right?
it takes time.
The same thing with, like, organic. Organic works. You just haven't figured out how to make it work for you, right? So, what this will allow us to do, and really the vision for where I eventually want Charlie to be, is as you're feeding it leads, right? You can financially qualify leads. You determine what you want to happen with those leads based on like the segmentations. And then as Charlie's gathering information about those leads, it is dynamically creating its own long-term nurture sequence to engage those leads. And as it gathers information from that lead, or as a lead clicks on something in your funnel, or they open an email with a particular subject line, or whatever it is, it's taking that information, it's like dynamically updating and feeding that back to that prospect and trying to get them to respond, stay top of mind, stay relevant. And as soon as they express they're ready to go, engage with them instantly, book them onto the calendar, and then get that person to show up. Right. So
Exactly. Because sales reps, there's always some that are just, ballers and hard workers, but they can't keep up with their leads. Meaning, like, if a lead opened this or checked out this page or whatever, they're not gonna know that. Like, they
they
can't
don't
keep up
care
with
to.
any of it. They don't care to it. Yeah. But if you have Charlie, hey, I noticed that you opened the email on XYZ. So glad. Hey, how did you like it? Was it pretty good? Did it resonate at all? Like, whatever, right? You could say,
Yep.
but you saying that, you're like, oh shit, it's very personal. Like he can get
Yeah, you
like a
get
human
personal at
being.
scale. And if
It's
we could do
personal at
that,
scale, which is impossible, by the
it's
way.
where we're at. That's really like the vision and kind of like where we're going with Charlie. And ultimately, I mean, we've had to restructure the team. We've had to get rid of a few people on our dev team. And I think honestly is one of those things where I don't know if we talked about it recently, but I think we did talk about it recently. We're like, when
When
does
we
it make
brought back
sense?
somebody.
Yeah, when we talk about bringing somebody back, but then also letting somebody go, right?
Mhm.
There's some times where if you're sitting down, and for me, I'm like, if I ever have to micromanage somebody's work product, like where I have to go in and double, triple check the work that they do, I'm like, you're not a good fit for the team. Like, you're just not a good fit for the team. And it's because you clearly you either don't care or you're completely incompetent. Both look the same,
They're
right?
very similar.
When somebody's completely incompetent and they do stuff, it looks like, bro, like, do you not care? But it's because you're a complete dumbass and you don't know what you're doing. You might care a lot, but you just don't know what you're doing. So it looks like
Yeah,
you
the
don't
skill
care.
level, the skill level is not there.
Yeah, because the work is sloppy. So, but if somebody gets to that point where you're having to do that, I'm like, you got to get them off the team as fast as possible. And we recently kind of got to that point where it just became very clear. It's like you're doing the work anyways. You just having to clean up after somebody else, or you could just do the work on your own the first time. And if you're having to do that, then it's like that person needs to get off the team.
And it
Right.
was clear after we started getting some eyeballs on the data and what was happening weeks and weeks out on our leadership call. We said, hey, you can either keep them there, but you're technically just
You're
building
doing the
the
work
shit.
anyways. You're
You're
doing the
building it
work.
and then you're cleaning it up. So why have this person here, bro? Like, it'll probably be less work if you just build it on your own. You know what I mean? And you probably don't have to work as much. You could probably cut your shit in half the time if you really
And you
think
know
about
what's
it.
funny is anytime you're leading up to, you always sleep the worst leading up to making a decision like that, right? But you know you made the right decision. If after the decision has been made, you feel a weight lifted off your shoulders. And that is exactly what
But
this
you,
person reported. They're like, I'm like, how'd you sleep last night? Man, best night's sleep I've gotten. And they'll fall time. And then I check in and I'm like, how's it? How's your how's your work day? Right? Like, man, like I feel very, very productive, right?
Right.
Well,
And
because he's they're doing a lot more, but the biggest difference is the energy, like the mental energy that's being wasted focusing on somebody else's work instead of your own work becomes very draining. And now there's no duplicity. There's no like trying to focus on your work and somebody else's work is just focusing on the work at hand. Uh, so that's also kind of
and you could tell how productive he's been because that call, that meeting we had, that was on a Tuesday. This week, by the way, Tuesday. I had a call with him last night because I needed to figure something out and I couldn't figure it out. And I got on a call. You still working? Yeah, I'm still here. I'm like, all right, can you jump on for like 2 minutes? I don't want to take up too much of your time. Fix what we need to fix. And I asked him, hey, has that big old, remember, it's a big thing. It's a big brain thing of Charlie, by the way. This is a big thing that makes Charlie run. It's like one of the big core things.
yep,
I'm like, how are you coming along with that? I'm
done.
done. I'm like, you're done? He's like, I'm like, dude, that took the other guy months to do. He goes, I'm done. In 48 hours. I'm like, so we can launch it? He goes, no. We're not launching it, but I'm technically done. But I have to
Yeah.
like make sure go through the
Yeah, you
steps
gotta
and
actually
proper.
gotta go through the proper
Yeah,
process before we
right.
roll
But he
out. Right?
built it in 48 hours. He's been dealing with shit for this guy for the last probably month to try to
For the
clean up
last
this
like
stuff.
6 months dealing with this nonsense. And that's just the power and that bandwidth, that focus that you get. Like time isn't people try and manage the wrong thing. Like you don't need time management, you need energy management. Right. Because when you get into a flow state where you can really focus and you're doing work that you enjoy, right? Time just collapses. Like once you're in that state, you're working and you're getting stuff done. By the time you look up, you're like, man, like 12 hours have gone by and I feel like I've only worked for an hour. Right. So energy management is the most important because then when you're focused, you're high energy and you're able to put in a bunch of energy into the work that you're doing, the quality of work is much higher and the rate in which you get things done is much faster. And we witnessed that case in point with this individual just recently. So it's so important. Like, what does this mean for those of you guys who are listening? All right. It's the people management is the X factor in growing and scaling your business. Right. And if you can have technology in your business that reduces the amount of people that you need, you have a higher performing team, your team is leaner, more productive, and you get to work with the people that you enjoy working with and you without having to scale the number of butts that you have in seats. Man, AI is going to change how people build business. I am here for it. I'm very, very excited about it. And I think it's something that the market needs. There are too many good people who have good products that can't scale because they have a hard time finding good
The right
people
people.
to help them scale. Right.
Yep.
So
Definitely.
we're right there. It's exciting times. We got some playbooks that are published on our website for anyone who wants to start dipping their feet into learning how to utilize AI inside of their business and specifically inside sales. We've got a playbook that's live right now, on how to build and deploy AI inside of like a sales team. So if you go to charlieai.io/playbooks, you'll be able to find it. We'll include it in the show notes for anyone who's listening. Those playbooks are free, by the way. Put a lot of time and effort into getting those mini courses/playbooks done. So if you're interested, probably one of the first plugs that we've actually made on this podcast, but I think it's going to be helpful for those of you who are wanting to learn how to incorporate AI into your sales processes and into your business, but don't really know where to start. All righty. That is it for me. Anything else we need to dive into?
I think that's it. We have a couple things that we thought about diving into today, but I think we'll save it for next week.
Yeah. All right, crew. So for those who are listening, stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Till next time. Peace.